Broadcasting live from the Capital OTB studios, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
We would like to thank Gulfstream Park for their sponsorship of this program and some of the other programming and events here at Capital OTB. Gulfstream Park's championship meet runs now through March 30th with high-quality action throughout, including the Florida Derby on Saturday, March 29th. Thank you. This morning we'll do what we normally do, a little recap of some of the stakes action from yesterday, including, a fine edition of the Saudi Cup, certainly had social media buzz. So we'll hit on some of the stakes action, which was a little light yesterday, to be honest, but part of that was because the big Rebel card that was scheduled for yesterday goes today. So a little bit later on in the show, we will be joined by Nancy Holthus from Oaklawn Park, and we'll take a look at some of their stakes action today on Rebel Day. Rebel itself looks very good, but the undercard of stakes action, and the undercard in total looks very good. Again, there are some of those, maiden or first level allowance races that have some horses that you would think you're going to watch going forward. There's an event coming up in Saratoga this week for one of the programs of Therapeutic Horses of Saratoga. Sounds like a fun event at the Horseshoe. So we'll promo that a little bit later on as well. Before I get underway, first let me remind you that today here at the Clubhouse Racebook King of the Hill contest that goes every Sunday through February, and I believe will continue through March as well. So if you come down to the Clubhouse Racebook today, watch a little racing action. You can watch sports on our screens at the far end. Maybe grab a little lunch at Black Bear, but also King of the Hill contest. Maybe wins you a little extra something. So come on down, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. And also, I want to thank everybody at Cleats yesterday. We were on the road yesterday afternoon. We were at Cleats out in the Utica-Whitesboro area. Great hospitality from the folks there. Well, we had some food and some fun and contest, and a nice little crowd showed up. So again, thanks to Cleats for their hospitality. Thanks to everybody who showed up for our Fan Appreciation Day, OTB Live on the road as well. Had some nice conversations with folks and, appreciated the turnout there. And so if you're up in that area, swing by Cleats. Nice place to watch and enjoy the racing action. All right, let's get to it. And as I alluded to, social media blew up, and understandably so. Saudi Cup yesterday. We had conversation yesterday morning with Dick Powell. And Dick kind of was tough to get by Romantic Warrior and Forever Young. Maybe play those two. Maybe find something a little bit underneath for a triple. And that's the way it worked out. We're going to pick it up in the stretch here. And the richest horse in the world with just about $23 million, now well over $23 million with the second place finish. But you will see Romantic Warrior take the lead in the stretch and seem to be home free. They have the markings on the video signal, and you'll see when they show the 200 marker, you have to feel like, okay, he's Romantic Warrior is a solid horse, but as you can see, tipping out there is Forever Young, and Forever Young runs down, gets passed by Romantic Warrior, and then runs that one down just determinedly. Some folks were pointing at jockey James McDonald on Romantic Warrior and thought he moved too soon. He said, my horse was still running at the end. He said, I just got run down by Forever Young. Forever Young, the very talented Japanese runner who, of course, last year had run third, a close-up third in the Kentucky Derby, came back for the Breeders' Cup Classic, ran third there. Those are the only two non-victories. And somebody wrote on social media, but for a little racing luck, this horse could be undefeated. And certainly yesterday added to what is stacking up to be a spectacular career, certainly for Forever Young. Take nothing away from Romantic Warrior, partly because that was his first try in the dirt. He had a turf career. So first try on the turf, takes the lead in the stretch, and just gets run down by Forever Young. And they were well ahead of the others in there. So it was really a spectacular, as I say, edition of the Saudi Cup yesterday. $20 million up for grabs, and one of those major races that manages to live up to the hype with just a stretch duel. And also on social media, out on Twitter, there is a jockey cam for the jockey on Forever Young. And it's kind of fascinating to see Forever Young on the turn, gets past, horse comes up the inside, and then determinedly runs down. So the jockey cam is maybe worth looking up as well, as I say, on social media. So Saudi Cup itself lived up to the $20 million purse and the big international field. I will note, I thought Rattle and Roll, who got sent over early, acclimated, won the prep race. I thought Rattle and Roll could be a little bit interesting. Ran fifth. Ken McPeak tweeted afterwards, we're kind of, we're proud of the horse, and came back coughing a little bit from the kickback. Maybe better at 1.25 miles. So they're hoping, I think, to move on to Dubai with Rattle and Roll, but Rattle and Roll winds up fifth in that Saudi Cup. Wanted to show just a couple others from Saudi Arabia yesterday, because I had put out on social media on Friday, part of our social media blitz, as it were, 5 horses to watch. There were 5 American entrants, technically. 4 were clearly American entrants, and then Defunded had started the career over here in America and now is based in the Middle East. And Defunded, speaking of that, in the Saudi Cup, Defunded was 10th in the Saudi. I thought he might be interesting at a little bit of a price. He was coming off a win as well. So there were 5 but 4 American entrants, and a couple of them were morning line favorites. And one of those in the dirt sprint yesterday was Straight No Chaser. First start back since the Breeders' Cup victory. Breeders' Cup victory then led to an Eclipse Award. And we'll see here, Straight No Chaser gets it done in the dirt sprint yesterday in Saudi Arabia. Nice comeback for that one, again, off the, the layoff since the Breeders' Cup. So ships, across the world, essentially, to do it. And as you can see here, does it pretty easily. John Velasquez on board, trained by Dan Blacker, so based out in Southern California. And I said it yesterday, John Velasquez, just an amazing career, and just continues. He'd been the regular rider of this one for a while, including the win in the Breeders' Cup. So comes back from the Breeders' Cup on November 2nd, subsequently getting an Eclipse Award, and follows it up with a very nice win yesterday in the dirt sprint, worth $2 million. So nice victory there as well for an American. And I wanted to show one more, just because it's a horse worth taking a look at, a 3-year-old, and also a Kentucky bred, based now over in the Middle East. But in the Saudi Derby yesterday, it was Golden Vekoma getting it done. Again, Saudi Derby living up to its name. This was a 3-year-old race, $1.5 million up for grabs. Golden Vekoma had come in, and as the name suggests, and as I said, this was a Kentucky bred, based over in the Middle East, and the first 3 races of the career had been in Dubai. Debut was a 3rd place finish, but then lived up to that Vekoma breeding, winning the 2nd start. And in the previous start to yesterday, had won the UAE 2000 Guineas. So 2 wins and a 3rd in 3 starts coming into yesterday. And now he makes it 3 for 4 in the career, with a determined effort here in the stretch. Golden Vekoma scores in the Saudi Derby. It looks like they'll aim for the UAE Derby in Dubai. That has Kentucky Derby points attached. We'll see if Golden Vekoma shows up in Kentucky. But again, given the record so far and what we saw yesterday, certainly becomes an interesting 3-year-old to maybe pay a little bit of attention to going forward on the world stage, and we'll see if it winds up on the Kentucky stage the first Saturday in May. But overall, it was a fun Saturday internationally, certainly, with horse. And as I say, social media blew up, deservedly so, with the Saudi Cup, and a lot of people are now kind of, will we get a rematch in the Breeders' Cup? If we did, it's hard to say. Forever Young has come over to this country already a couple of times, but Romantic Warrior, I don't know. It would be great, to have a duel like that in February, and then again in November, kind of start the year and end the year, to sit and look. And it looks like the handicap division in this country may be a little more potent this year, certainly, than last year. So it would be fun to see those two show up here at the end of the year. We'll see how that works out. I mean, there's a lot of time still to go for everything to kind of go right, much less the connections making that decision, but we'll see how it works. I also wrote down, again, with the American entrance, Straight No Chaser was a winner. In the turf sprint, Howard Wolowitz, I thought he was interesting coming out of the stakes win, middle of December at Turfway. Howard Wolowitz wound up 10th in the turf sprint. Saudi Cup, as I say, Rattle and Roll was 5th, Defunded was 10th. And in that Saudi Derby, Cyclone State, who was coming out of the really nice win in the Jerome, he was taking a lot of attention early as well, going into yesterday. But in that Saudi Derby, behind Golden Vekoma, Cyclone State wound up 9th. So, of the four absolutely U.S.-based horses, the winner was Straight No Chaser. So I guess those odds weren't bad, or those performances overall, 1 for 4. All right, a couple other stakes I wanted to look at from yesterday as well. Talked a little bit about these stakes with Ellis Starr. There were 2 nice turf sprints at Tampa, and we're going to first look at the Lightning City field of 12 in here. The favorite was Great Venezuela, and I kind of like that horse. I had Great Venezuela on top. Risk threshold from Chad and Klarovich was certainly going to take some attention as well. That one kind of disappointed. I'm just looking at second choice. Had a little trouble trip and wound up 11th. But it will be a Great Venezuela here. Leonel Reyes coming over from Gulfstream, where he's been riding well on the turf over there, gets it done. Again, as the 2-1 favorite, going to be the number 9 horse in here. You can see on the outside, nice late run. Chart margin winds up to be a couple of lengths for Great Venezuela, trained by Victor Barboza. Based over on the East Coast at Gulfstream, was coming out of a second-place finish in the Gulfstream Sunshine Filly and Mare Turf. That was at a mile. He had a couple of nice little sprints just prior to that, though, and I thought had the chance to get back to those. Betting public again did too at 2-1. So Great Venezuela looking good in the Lightning City. And there was also the Turf Dash yesterday. I liked Super Quest, and I'm just looking. That one wound up the second choice at 9-5, or at 5-2. The favorite was 9-5. Our Shot. They both wind up out of money, 5th and 6th, as it was Upset City in the Turf Dash. It'll be number 10, Rookie, getting it done at 20-1, and running second will be number 4, Horsepower. Horsepower had Rajiv Murrah on board in town, and Izzy Vungu, who also seemed an interesting entrant yesterday, winds up 3rd as the 3rd choice at 7-2. But a couple of 20-1 shots or 20+1 shots get it done in there. And for $1, you walked away with an exacta just under $350, as it was kind of a blanket finish among the first 3, half a length neck between first and second and third. So exciting addition there with a couple of horses that I did not have in my mix, but Rookie was coming in off a win, and it was also a Gerald Bennett trainee. So you know how potent Gerald Bennett is. And Sammy Camacho was on board. So you certainly had connections that were worth taking a second look at down at Tampa, no question about it. A couple of races I didn't call for the replays, but I did want to mention it was upset in the Heavenly Prize in New York. Bernie takes charge with Romero Mirage on board, led him all the way around. He's been kind of aggressive. If you've been watching over the past week or so, Romero has been worth taking a look at, and it's 17-1 gets it done with Bernie takes charge in the Heavenly Prize. And I said Super Chow scratched from one of the Tampa Stakes. And so, as I said, we talked on yesterday's show about the Tampa Stakes, and I knew when we talked that the horse had been scratched. And I said, probably just as well. Scratched to go in the stake at Gulfstream, the Gulfstream Park Sprint. And I said, probably just as well, given the race we were talking about, because it seemed like Super Chow had maybe lost a step. And then, we didn't look at the Gulfstream Park Turf Sprint, but Super Chow gets it done. Betting public was a little more convinced than I was. 3-1 for Super Chow. I like Concrete Glory. That one wound up second as the 2-1 second choice. But Super Chow gets back to his winning ways. It seemed like, Super Chow was very talented early in the career for quite a while. But the last couple of starts, again, it seemed like maybe he'd lost a step or two. But no, that was not the case. Also did want to mention that at Turfway last night, again, you have to pay attention to 3-year-olds this time of year. California Burrito got it done in the John Battaglia. Baby Max was the favorite. That one winds up second. California Burrito, though, might be worth paying a little bit of attention to. Had a win on the synthetic at Turfway prior, then won the Battaglia last night, but has some okay dirt races at Churchill, going back down the resume a little bit. So California Burrito, as I say, maybe worth paying attention to. First Resort, who was going to be the favorite, scratched for Owen Hardy, said came out of a workout and just wasn't happy with the situation there. So, all right, we'll take a break. When we come back, again, kind of a fun event coming up in Saratoga this week. We'll preview that for you a little bit. And then a little bit later on, Nancy Holthus from Oaklawn Park. Big day down there with the Rebel and more. All of that after this. Stay tuned.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. Yeah, you got all the info a while ago, in fact, and that there's a nice event coming up this week, and I put it on my agenda for the show that I wanted to promo it coming in, because certainly with all the snow and ice and cold weather, I think a lot of you out there like me feeling a little cabin fever. So why not get out and enjoy some fun activities up in Saratoga? It's related to Therapeutic Horses of Saratoga. So who better to reach out to than our friend Kim Weir? Kim, good morning.
Well, good morning, Seth. It is great to be with you on this beautiful Sunday morning from where I'm sitting.
And when I texted about coming on the show, you texted back to me a couple of pictures down at Gulfstream. The first picture we were talking off the air, I said, I didn't quite recognize the background. I knew you were in nice weather, but the second picture with Junior Alvarado outside the winner's circle, then I nailed it, a little Gulfstream yesterday. So clearly I'm very envious.
I know. We are feeling very lucky. We were up at 3:30 yesterday, and we slid out of the house on our icy driveway. But boy, it is nice down here. But I'll be home on Thursday because I would never miss a party, especially if you're coming, Seth. I'll be at the Horseshoe on Thursday, bundled back up again.
And again, the event is related to Therapeutic Horses of Saratoga, and we'll talk specifically about that first. But, I've had you on the show plenty of times. I'm sure much of the audience is familiar. But for those who maybe aren't, just give us a little overview first on Therapeutic Horses of Saratoga.
Sure. Well, we are a charity that's based right outside of Saratoga. We're just east of town, heading towards Schuylerville. We are in the business of taking care of racehorses when their careers have ended. We take care of actually both thoroughbreds and standardbreds. Our herd of 27 horses are going to live out their days happily ever after with us. And then as we take care of them and get them feeling peaceful and happy, our purpose, our second part of our purpose, is to share them with the community in a whole bunch of different ways, including equine assisted therapy, also things like team building, field trips, and even a really fun thing called horse play. So we are taking care of horses and sharing horses with the community, and we love telling people about it.
And there are events that allow people to go out to the farm. I visited it. It's very nice. Impressed by the Amish folks building the barn out there. And that was certainly very impressive. I don't think I've had you on. Talk a little bit about last fall. I didn't get a chance to go. There's FOMO, fear of missing out. And then there's Aikido. I know I missed out because I didn't make the Bacon Brothers concert. What was that, September or October? But looking at the pictures, it looked like that was a great event out at the farm as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was a really fun way of doing, our mission, which is taking care of the horses and sharing them with people. But in this case, we shared them with 400 of our favorite people, except you. You were much missed. And this is our big charity event. Our biggest fundraiser of the year is a charity concert. Last year we did have none other than Kevin Bacon. That's Kevin Bacon. I am now 1 degree of Kevin Bacon.
I'm 2 now. I'm 2 degrees now.
You're 2 now. You are 2 now. You made it upgrade. He and his brother were just awesome. The Bacon Brothers, I highly recommend. In fact, I would actually love to go see them again someday because while you're hosting an event, you don't actually get to sort of enjoy the concert the same way the guests did. But it was a beautiful night. We did have over 400 folks there. We had not only the Bacon Brothers as our headliner, we had Walt Borisinock and perform as our lead up, and then Rich Ortiz was the opening act. We had food trucks, we had a silent auction, and just a beautiful night on the farm to really share this peaceful place with everyone and raise money too. So we'll do that again this fall. I'm not going to tease the band. We are close to having them signed, but it's another big famous band, and it'll be again in the fall. So stay tuned. Check out our website, and we will not let you miss this one.
Yeah, and
we can't have it happen again.
We will certainly have you plugged in up at Saratoga during the summer to promo that properly. But let's promo properly Thursday night. It looks like a lot of fun. Like I say, with the snow, the ice, the cold, I think people are ready. And this is going to take place at the Horseshoe. For folks who aren't familiar, it's right across the street from the backstretch gate. It's literally a stone's throw from where we are based all summer long on the backstretch with capital OTB. Horseshoe is a great location. They're technically Gridley, but they're out, Nelson Avenue across the street, as I say, from the backstretch gate. Sounds like a great event, timed very well, 100 days to the Belmont. Talk a little bit about Thursday night's event.
Yeah, this is fun. Well, you're absolutely right. The key driver is that it is time to get out of our houses and spend some time together and just have some fun. We're bringing our herds together, as we say. It's going to be our staff, our volunteers, our board members, our friends, our family, our neighbors, and we're just going to have a super fun, casual night at the Horseshoe. The Horseshoe gives us a whole venue. They're great hosts. They put out a really nice spread of food that's included with your ticket. Cash bar. Our dear friend Jeff Walton is going to bring his, I call him he's my human therapy animal. I love Jeff Walton. And he will be singing for us. We'll have some raffle items. We might have a celebrity guest or two like Seth Merrow, hopefully with us. And really, besides having fun, we are always raising awareness of the work that we do, and we are also raising money for the work that we do, because one of the key pieces of the THS, Therapeutic Horses of Saratoga, is that we want to provide what we do to folks who may not be able to access our services otherwise. And veterans and service members and their families are a very big population that we serve. So Thursday night is specifically actually raising money for that program, our Freedom Reign program. So that's not only hopefully a really fun night out of the house, but also a good cause and some good work that we can do with the support of folks who turn out and join us. It's $55. We have tickets online at our website. We'll probably have a few at the door, but we're very likely going to be a little cozy. So if you're planning to come, I would say go ahead and buy that ticket today. But it'll be a good time, and it'll be more fun if you're there, Seth.
I have it on my agenda. I haven't purchased mine yet, but after the show, I'll bang in. And we had the address on the screen there, thsaratoga.org. There's an events link up at the top. You click on that, and you will find the events listed, including 100 Days to Belmont. And again, perfect timing given the winter we've had up here. And I think people are ready to get out. And as you say, goes to a great cause, overall Therapeutic Horses of Saratoga, but your specific program benefiting veterans, which is great work. And so I'm looking forward to it. And hopefully we've got some other people looking forward to it as well, because as I say, right across the street, I tend to go to the Horseshoe a bit during the summertime. And so it'll be nice to go in and visit the Horseshoe folks and many, many more on Thursday night. Looking forward to it.
Well, thank you, Seth. It's going to be a good time. We appreciate you helping us spread the word. And it'll be nice to welcome some new faces to the herd. All are welcome, and hope to see you there. Yeah,
very good. And as I say, Kim, say hello to your husband, Bob. For folks who don't know, Bob makes buyer speed figures. So, and I have said I'd love to get him on the show talking about that, but that's never going to happen.
Well, you can keep trying. I encourage you to keep trying.
They're like a handful of people. John Serpazian, the handicapper in the Saratoga special. I keep trying to get him, and I can't. There's like a small group of people I'd love to have, but they TV reluctant, as it were. But we'll see. Yeah. We'll keep working. But say hello. Say hello and enjoy the rest of your time down in the sunny South, and we'll look forward to seeing you at the end of the week.
Thank you, Seth. You take care. Take care. Bye-bye.
Appreciate it. Kim Weir, again, Therapeutic Horses of Saratoga, sponsoring the event and benefiting from the event on Thursday night. It's going to be at the Horseshoe. And again, you can find out more info and ticket information, thsaratoga, thsaratoga.org. Top of the page, there's an events link there, and that'll tell you more about it. Sounds like fun on Thursday. As I say, we are all ready for an antidote to the cold, the ice, the snow, and this sounds like a good way to make this upcoming week sounds like. And one of the weathermen said it, and it is absolutely the truth. He said last night, a couple nights ago, yeah, it's going to be like 35 on Monday or Tuesday. He said, but that's going to feel like 50. And I thought, he's absolutely right. It's one of those. This week, you drive around and you are sure to see at least one or two people with the windows open. And all of a sudden, given what we've had, 35 seems tropic, given the last month or so. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, as promised earlier, it's a Rebel Day down at Oaklawn. Was scheduled for yesterday. They've had weather issues. So Rebel Day today down in Oaklawn, and we'll hit on some of those stakes on the card this afternoon with Nancy Holthus right after this. Stay tuned. Haven't signed up for a Capital OTB account yet? Now's the time to take advantage of the sign-up bonus. Open up a new account with $200 or more, bet $400 by the end of the month, and receive a bonus $200 into your account. Plus, you can take advantage of everything an OTB account has to offer. Wagering from any device, live streaming, racing info, past performances, online promotions, and more. Sign up today and take advantage of the new account bonus. Details at capitalotb.com.
Birdstone is an outside front. They're coming down to the finish. Can Smarty Jones hold on? Here comes Birdstone. Birdstone surges past. Birdstone wins the Belmont Stakes. In front, but here comes High Chaparral. High Chaparral, the defending champ, to take it to Bob. These two arch rivals head to head with Joe Hart bearing down on them. It's going to be a 3-horse photo finish to the turn. Here's the wire. Photo finish.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. Happy to be joined now by our friend Nancy Holthus. You see her the pregame show with Matt Dinnerman. They do a great job. That's always a lot of fun. You see her pre-race down in the paddock as well, and had to reach out on the rescheduled Rebel Day. Nancy, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me on.
And I have to ask, first question up, what's the weather situation down there today?
Well, fortunately, Mother Nature has thrown us a bone finally. The temps are increasing, and it's partly sunny today, and the infield is going to be open. So that's a big, big deal.
Oh, nice. How often does that happen?
What, the infield?
Yeah.
We try to do it. This is actually the first day that we'll have the infield open on Saturdays and Sundays, but of course, weather permitting.
And let me ask you this, because we're going back a ways, but we used to open up the infield in Saratoga, but we don't do it anymore because they had to put like a wood path over the turf courses, so there would be no turf racing. So they don't do it anymore. It used to be fun, but how do you guys get to the infield with no turf course? That wouldn't be a problem, but is it just walk across the track, or is there a tunnel?
No, actually, that's a good question. There's a tunnel on the apron that goes underneath the track, and you go back up the set of stairs, and boom, you're in our beautiful infield.
Nice. Yeah, because it was always fun. But as I say, given the, couldn't do turf racing, you can't really do that anymore. Right. It's so popular. But all right, let's jump in because, wow, this is a really good card. And it's highlighted by the 11th race today, the Rebel. 3-year-olds on the way to the Arkansas Derby and then potentially onto the Kentucky Derby. $1.25 million, mile and a 16th. I like Sandman. Given the trip, everybody is going to like Sandman a little bit. But he was beaten that day in the Southwest by Coal Battle. That one had come out of the Remington Park Springboard Mile. Speed King, coming out of the same race, subsequently wins the Southwest. Over Sandman. I mentioned Coal Battle. Coal Battle won the Smarty Jones earlier. So those two are interesting. Tistastic on the outside for Steve Asmussen, I think, can be a player. Mattakit Road, it's Bob Baffert, who's won this race 8 times. But I pulled up a replay. I have Sandman on top, but right underneath, I'm going to use Hypnus, who I thought looked spectacular in the debut. And we're going to take a look at the stretch run. Career debut down at the fairgrounds for Ken McPeak, who doesn't necessarily have him cranked up in the first start, but Hypnus looks spectacular here. This is a big ask, but I'm going to throw him in the mix off of this effort. What are your thoughts on the Rebel?
Well, you named my top four already. I am going to back Sandman after that just debacle of a start. He broke in a tangle, and Mark Cassidy said he really didn't know how in the world Christian Torres stayed on. Christian Torres actually credits his little toe for keeping him in the iron. So I'm going to go with Sandman. I think he was very possibly the best horse in the Southwest that day had he not gotten that nightmare of a trip, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him maybe just a little bit closer to the pace today. It is a field of 14, or actually a field of 13, because Bullard from the Mike McCarthy barn is scratched. But it's all going to be about the break, and a lot of horses in the Southwest did not have the ideal race scenarios. So a lot of them are looking to improve. But yeah, Sandman is going to be my top selection. I am going to go with Coal Battle second, looking for his fourth straight win. I love the story of Lonnie Riley and Juan Vargas. They're two individuals that people probably aren't super familiar with. And Speed King, to round out my trifecta, I actually interviewed Rafael Bejarano this morning for Don at Oaklawn and specifically asked, is he a need to lead type of horse? Because that's how he's won his 2 career wins. And he doesn't think so, which is kind of good to know, especially given that he is now breaking from that 10 post position at 1 mile and a 16.
Let me ask you about this because, and I want to say, I think it was Richard Migliori on the radio earlier this week. He said he talked to Wayne Lucas, and Wayne is kind of high on Innovator. And I have to say, after I heard that and looking at the bullet work, if we get the morning line's 15-1, if there's a price there, I'm going to back up a little bit with Innovator.
Yeah, he's certainly a really good play in here after that strong third in the Lecomte. It's kind of interesting that there's a decent amount of speed in the Rebel this year. We don't always get that. So it's going to be interesting to see who guns out to the front headed into that first turn.
Yeah, no question about it. Certainly would be fun to see Wayne Lucas in the winner's circle. However,
yes, it would, especially with Tyler Bacon.
Yeah. So it's just, it is a really, really nice looking field. And I think it's going to play obviously a little bit later on into the Arkansas Derby and then later on as well into the Kentucky Derby. And as you say, a horse like Coal Battle, it is a lot of fun when you get kind of a fresh face, so to speak, on the Derby trail. So I'd love to see him run well, as you noted.
Yeah, they've actually had their phone ringing quite a bit since that victory in the Smarty Jones. But you got to love the primary of Norman Stables LLC, who owns Coal Battle. They just simply said, you know what? We finally got a good 3-year-old on the Derby trail. We're not interested.
Yeah,
so you have to respect that.
Exactly. That has got to be over the years, I have heard that plenty of times. And that whenever I hear it, I think, what would I do? Because you wait your whole life to get that. And then somebody throws out, is flashing a life-changing amount of money in front and say, what's the decision here? That has got to be very tough, but easy to root for, as they say, a fresh face, as it were. All right, the Razorback, nice field of older horses on the card today as well. I'm gonna take a little shot with Skinner. Cherie DeVoe now has had this horse for a little bit, and I thought, got the first start in the Cherie DeVoe barn with the third in the Louisiana. So I thought that was interesting. Red Route 1 for Steve Asmussen is an interesting player to me as well. Off of the last couple of efforts, I think you're going to get a price. I'll look for a rebound, and we'll need a rebound. And I pulled up a replay of Banishing, winning the Byerly Turk back in January. This was the second of 2 triple-digit buyers, but they were both sprinting. So there's a question mark on the stretch out. First Mission, obviously, from Brad Cox will take action. What are your thoughts on the Razorback?
Well, it's interesting that Banishing is going to step up in the graded stakes debut. And as you mentioned, going from sprint to a route, the barn does actually fairly well with that type of run play. And that was a really good race in the Byerly Turk. He was a runaway winner. The duel was really for second. They actually dead heated between Osborne and Wendelson. But First Mission, he was our Essex winner last year, and it looks like he's kind of doing the same thing as he did during this 4-year-old campaign. I love the fact that all 4 career wins, 4 of his 5 career wins are at today's mile and the 16th, and he's won off a similar type of freshening. So he is the high weight at 122, 5-1 on the morning line. But I think of all the stakes today, I think the Razorback is the most wide open because you're going to get some value. And it could be, as you mentioned, somebody like Red Route 1, if there's a pace meltdown on the front end that can really, really take advantage of that. But yeah, I think it's a wide open running this year in the Razorback.
I'm going to be interested to see how the odds shake out. As you mentioned, the morning line prices and whatnot. 5-1 on First Mission hasn't been seen since a poor performance in the Whitney last year. But Brad Cox, Godolphin with a nice runner. I'll be interested to see what he goes off at. As I say, as they go in the gate, I'm very intrigued to see how the odds are going to shake out in here.
Yeah, that definitely makes two of us. And I think you're probably going to get a bargain. And yeah, Cherie DeVoe, she's coming in locked and loaded today. And yeah, that horse of a good third, just out kicked and kind of hung. And that was over the slot. But that was a really good effort coming off the ship, getting adjusted into a new training program. So yeah, you got to respect that, especially at 6-1.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting, certainly. Also interesting, the 3-year-old boys in the Rebel, the 3-year-old girls in the Honeybee, on the way, potentially out to the Kentucky Oaks. 8.5 furlongs here for $500,000. And, I think Mahima will be the favorite. And I'm going to pull up the Demoiselle from December down in New York. Mahima is going to be the number 1 horse. It must be nice to be Brad Cox. Immersive goes to the sidelines, and you have a horse like Mahima to back things up here. Certainly off of this effort and being 3 for 3 will take some action. I'm going to play around a little bit with Quick Kick for Tommy Amos, who comes back in the 3-year-old debut today. Last seen running third in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly, second in the Alcibiades behind Immersive in both of those races. So Quick Kick is interesting to me, lightly raced, and again, given a little bit of a break. This is the kind I think can come back, maybe improved a little bit. So I'll use that one. Take Charge, My Lady, I think is interesting. And we're seeing here again in the Demoiselle, Mahima win. I can't get past that one as being probably the one to beat. Quiet Side, also intriguing for me, but from the 12 post is going to have to work a little bit. What did you see in the Honeybee?
Well, again, you just named my top 4. I got to see Mahima yesterday, and she certainly looks the part. When she comes out on the track, she just oozes class through and through, and you have to respect. It's hard enough to get horses to win back-to-back, but the fact that she has strung 3 wins together, and all of those, she has gone off as the favorite. So I like a horse that can take that kind of pressure going off as the favorite and performing as such. Quick Kick. Certainly want to give this horse a close look, especially in the paddock. Likes to come from off the pace and could get a decent pace setup in the Honeybee today. Does give up some recency, but has a really good work pattern down at the fairgrounds. And of course, you don't want to count out Kenny McPeak, especially in the fillies. We know what he did last year with Torpedo Anna. Julia Leperoux is really high on this 3-year-old. I visited her at the barn yesterday, and she is just as full of personality as a 3-year-old filly can get. She loves the attention, and she beat Quiet Side. The Johnny Ortiz really standout 3-year-old in the Martha Washington. So this is probably one of the most competitive honeybees that we've seen in quite some time.
And I will note, a horse like Quiet Side, and this may be something people want to take a look at as they're handicapping, because I've heard comments from some trainers over the past couple of weeks. But Quiet Side, you see there was a string of workouts at Oaklawn, again, had been in the Martha Washington at Oaklawn back in January. But the most recent work was down at the fairgrounds. And I think given the weather, a lot of trainers opted to head to the fairgrounds to make sure they would stay consistent with the training. But in some of the stakes races, and certainly on the undercard, it might be worth taking a look if there was a little gap in the training schedule, given the weather down there.
Yeah, it was almost like a bum rush out of here to get those horses to be able to train not only at the fairgrounds, but also down at Louisiana Downs. So, yeah, Johnny Ortiz did the right thing, and I think a lot of short leaf stable horses did van out, so they couldn't miss that gap of training that they were forced to if they were stabled on property. But yeah, she's definitely one to take a look at. It seems like she's not sure about getting her picture taken too often. But she was impressive breaking her maiden at Saratoga on debut. But yeah, she's another one I'm really looking forward to seeing, and not only have the best horses in our stakes today, but also the best riders across the country. I'm really excited to see that level of competition.
They're certainly as is normal on a day like this. And we should mention also, because I talked about it at the top of the show, as is kind of become typical on big days like this, the undercard is really good. I mean, you have the maiden specials and allowance races of horses that will clearly make some noise later in the year.
Yeah, we're certainly looking forward to that. We have the carousel in race number 4, and then also some overnight stakes. We've got 10 overnight stakes this year on the calendar, and we're going to be running today for the first time the Commodore and the Trivista, which is a very affluent neighborhood located just outside the north turn of the racetrack.
Interesting. Well, let's hit on the Trivista because, nice little overnight stake worth $145,000. Mile and a 16th there. Under the Palms is the direction I went, the Kenny McPeak horse, 12-1 on the morning line, but comes out of a close-up second last time. I thought that horse was worth a look, but I pulled up a replay of Amber Cascade going back to the fairgrounds the middle of January. Amber Cascade is going to be the number 5 horse here. Comes in for Cherie DeVoe. That one's interesting. Marshall Graham and 10 Strike and Company have Indy Label. Penoir, the 5 horse, is going to take, obviously, a lot of action for Rudy Brissett and Flavien Prat. What did you see in the Trivista?
You know, I'm kind of surprised that Rudy Brissett hasn't won a race yet at the meet. He's only sent out a limited number of starters, and all of those were based here. If you take a look, Penoir was stabled at Keeneland. So probably lost maybe a few days with the weather in Lexington, but looks like this filly did remain on a steady work pattern, and that's what I like to see. They did ship her down to Tampa to a second place finish in the Wayward Lass. And that was a really good effort for her, getting some stakes placing on her black type. But I like the fact that she's been training at Keeneland and she's coming in. She shows me that she can shift and she can perform.
Yeah, again, I think that's an interesting race on the card as well. And finally, you mentioned the carousel, so we'll take a look at that also. That's going to be the 4th race on the program, $150,000 for the fillies and mares going 3/4 of a mile. And I pulled up a replay of Benedetta winning the American Beauty earlier in the meet, riding, a 4-race win streak now, given that win last time out. Sandy Bottom, I thought, was a little bit interesting, and Lady Moscato could be a player as well. What did you see in the carousel?
Well, I'm actually going to go with the coach in here with Lady Moscato. Wayne's high on this 4-year-old filly. I like the angle of 3rd race off of a layoff, and she won at that exact 3rd race off a layoff last year, here winning a very nice first-level allowance and scored by 8.5 lengths. So Keith Asmussen back in the iron. She's looking for back-to-back wins after a 3-length win in the Bugler. And I like that she was able to run as well as she did without Lasix. A lot of our runners are going to be without Lasix for the first time today. So if she can perform without it, as Benedetta did as well, I think that's a little bit of a handicapping angle.
Very good. And again, nice stakes action, a solid undercard as well. And the top, you mentioned Dawn at Oaklawn. That's your interview show you do. Do you normally do it on Sunday, or is it normally Saturday, but you moved to Sunday this week?
Yeah, it's always on Saturday, but with the adjustment of Rebel Day, we did go ahead and shift it to today, but it will resume back on its regularly scheduled programming to Saturday.
And folks can find that, on the Oaklawn website or on YouTube as well?
Yeah, Oaklawn's YouTube channel. We have all of our Dawn at Oaklawns up there, and there's some great interviews from the great Jack Van Berg all the way to Steve Asmussen and a lot of really accomplished riders. So very fortunate to be able to have a program like that here.
And I know you've done Wayne Lucas before, and I was lucky enough to I chased him for a number of years, and a couple of years ago up at Saratoga, I had him, and it's great to kind of pick his brain. You going to plug him in this season?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I always look forward to interviewing the coach. And he's having a really good meet. And I'm fortunate enough, he and his wife, Lori, kind of hang out in my office between races. And it's almost like the coach unplugged when he's in here. So I get to hear some words of wisdom from the man himself.
Yeah, I am envious, certainly. I mean, it's just amazing the career he's still cooking along and wins a Triple Crown race last year.
Yeah, right.
Geez, it's just really fun to watch. And he's got a number of live horses today as well. Nancy, as always, appreciate the visit. Appreciate you taking the time. Again, folks can check out your Dawn at Oaklawn series at the Oaklawn YouTube channel, and highly recommend that. And as I always tell you, you and Matt do a great job on the pregame show. I always get a couple of laughs out of that, and a good job in the paddock as well. So keep up the good work. We'll be watching today.
Thanks so much, and happy Rebel Day.
Appreciate it. Nancy Holthus from Oaklawn on a really, really nice day at Oaklawn this afternoon. So you want to take a look at that. Oaklawn, I say it all the time. Oaklawn and Tampa are two of my favorite tracks all year long, and they kind of stand out of the winter. But Oaklawn, you just find a lot of value, certainly. And on a day like this, there will be plenty of that as well, with classy horses in stakes races, because they're all very competitive, it seems like. So we'll take a look this afternoon, certainly, at some Oaklawn on OTB Live. All right, but in the meantime, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll just hit on some news and notes before we wrap things up on this Sunday morning on Racing Across America. Stay tuned.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
Some news and news. I mentioned this earlier this week, but I think I mentioned it during our maybe the day ahead segment or whatnot. So, for folks who aren't necessarily watching in the on weekdays, let me alert you that National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame has announced the 2025 Hall of Fame finalists. 16 finalists in various categories: horses, jockeys, trainers. And the finalists this year are Blind Luck, Game On Dude, Groupie Doll, Havre de Grace, Kona Gold, Lady Eli, Rags to Riches, and Smarty Jones on the horse side of things. The trainers: Christophe Clement, Kieran McLaughlin, Kenny McPeak, Graham Motion, and Doug O'Neill and John Sadler, and John Sheriffs, and one jockey, Chop Chop, George Chavez, is the lone jockey on the list. Groupie Doll, Smarty Jones, and Ken McPeak are finalists for the first time. I'm one of the voters, and voting is, as a voter, you can vote for as many as you'd like. It takes to get into the hall, it takes 50% plus one vote to get in. And you look at that, and normally you kind of think, well, boy, that seems easy. But the voters tend to take it seriously that getting into the Hall of Fame should warrant, some real scrutiny. And so, it doesn't parse out that everybody makes it. You look at the list and you think, boy, they're all good. But again, it doesn't wind up that they all show up on Hall of Fame Day, which is going to come up in August as it typically does. And I'm just looking here, August 1st this year. And as has been the case for a number of years now, it'll take place in the Fasig-Tipton Pavilion. If you've never been to the Hall of Fame ceremony, it's a lot of fun. And I mentioned the other day, it tends to be kind of a sellout crowd now. So show up early. We'll remind you, obviously, as we get closer. But again, it'll be August 1st, 10:30 in the morning. But a lot of previous Hall of Famers show up, and it's a nice morning with the induction. Again, the voting will take place now that the announcement for the finalists was just a few days ago. So the voters will get, packages with information to make the votes within the next few days. The results will be announced on April 24th. So April 24th, we'll know who's going to be inducted in the August ceremony. The announcements will also include selections by the museum's Historic Review Committee, Steeplechase and Pillars of the Turf committees as well. That's a separate group looking at, obviously historic types of decisions. So again, nice little class of finalists that will become on April 24th, the class of 2025 for the Hall of Fame, but certainly a good group to select from. Did want to pull up this. This was kind of interesting to me. Every day that NYRA sends out a recap of the day, goes through the races and, gives you the results, the winner, the payoff, the jockey, the trainer, the time of the race, and if there's a carryover. Every day they note winning favorites on the day, winning favorites at the meet. And just to give you the result there, meet to date down at Aqueduct, 36.4% favorites are currently winning. It'll give you the pick six payout. The recap will tell if there's a carryover, obviously, et cetera, et cetera. There's just a number of nice pieces of information that gets sent out to the media and whatnot with the daily recap. But part of the daily recap is also current standings, jockeys and trainers. And that's why I wanted to, kind of watching, you have an idea of this, but seeing it in the raw numbers. First off, I'll give you the jockey standings at the current Aqueduct meet. Jose Lezcano 1 ahead of Manny Franco, 36-35. Kendrick Carmouche with 27. He's having a nice meet. Eric Cancel at 20. And Sahin Savachi, I think, is still on the sidelines with 15. Romero Mirage, who I said has been kind of interesting and aggressively getting up and placing horses nicely over the past few days. So keep your eyes there as well. But again, so it's neck and neck on the jockey side. But then when I pulled up the recap yesterday, as I said, you kind of have an idea watching the races day to day, but I wasn't quite clued in. On the trainer side of things, trainer standings at the current Aqueduct meet, Linda Rice has 35. In number 2, Rick Dutrow with 9. Yikes. That's just incredible. Linda Rice just running away with this, has more than triple the number of wins as compared to the trainer in second. So again, tuck that in your back pocket for handicapping, as if folks haven't already. But all right, going to give you a quick reminder on the promos coming up. Really, the only promo is the King of the Hill today, but there's one other that is worth noting. There is an online syndicate coming up next Saturday, and those entries will open up today. So keep that in mind. King of the Hill here at the Clubhouse Racebook. Come on down, watch the racing action, see the various Sunday sports, and participate in the King of the Hill. And then, as I say, next Saturday, there is an online syndicate, and entries for that will open up today at Capital OTB, probably about noontime or so. So if you'd like to take part in the syndicate, and again, the syndicate is everybody tosses in $25. There's 20 people on the team. That adds up to 500. Capital OTB puts in another 250. It's 750 that'll go on a pick 5 at Gulfstream next Saturday. So it allows you to get in kind of a whale-sized ticket for a relatively modest amount of money. And it's kind of fun. Folks later in the week when the entries are out will submit their thoughts, and then a consensus ticket is put together. So again, if you'd like to participate, about noontime today, entries will open online at capitalotb.com. Click on the promotions link, look for that graphic right there, and then fill out an entry form to see if you can get on next Saturday's syndicate team. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. Seth Merrow, another Sunday morning. Thanks to Kim Weir, Therapeutic Horses of Saratoga. Don't forget, coming up Thursday at the Horseshoe up in Saratoga, fun event. You can find out more information at thsaratoga.org. Click on the events link for more information and tickets. Sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun Thursday evening. And thanks also to Nancy Holthus for swinging by to go through some of the stakes action down at Oaklawn today. Looks like a lot of fun. And again, we'll be looking at Oaklawn later this afternoon. I'll also look at some Aqueduct and some Gulfstream when we're back in probably a little over an hour or so for OTB Live for a Sunday afternoon. One more time, do want to thank everybody out at Cleats yesterday. That was a lot of fun. OTB Live on the road. Nice crowd turned out. Everybody was in the contest, was kind of keeping up as the afternoon went along. That was fun. There was some nice food as well. They have a nice bar in the background, in the back of the building. People were back watching races there as well. But great hospitality from the Cleats folks. Appreciated everybody who turned out, had some nice conversations during the afternoon. So again, thanks to everybody out at Cleats in the Whitesboro, Utica area. If you're out there, want to watch the horses, great place to do it. All right, going to wrap it up for Racing Across America on this Sunday morning. But again, we'll be back in a little over an hour or so with OTB Live for Sunday afternoon. Stay tuned. We would like to thank Gulfstream Park for their sponsorship of this program and some of the other programming and events here at Capital OTB. Gulfstream Park's championship meet runs now through March 30th with high-quality action throughout, including the Florida Derby on Saturday, March 29th.
You're watching OTB TV.